Welcome to the B2B Digital Marketer Podcast, a podcast helping you to end your struggle with digital marketing, helping you to pave a new and better path to target and capture your ideal customer. Each week, we teach you how insiders and experts debunk the dreary and become engines of innovation. Now, here's your host, Jim Rembach.
Okay, B2B DM gang, we're going to have a really good conversation today because we're going to talk about a paradox that you're probably living right now. And I have Nicoline Maes, Nicoline Maes. He's actually from the Netherlands, so I'm working on my proper inflection. So Nicoline, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome. Looking forward to it.
Oh, same here. So if you could, give us a little bit of background on your education and your pathway that's kind of brought you to B2B digital marketing.
Kind of followed a different path than probably most because I didn't have a formal education in marketing. I started as in arts, and I had like an associate's degree in business. And then I did like voluntary work next to raising my children. And there I kind of went into PR and marketing a little bit. I really liked it. And then we moved to the US in 2006 with my ex-husband. And I had the opportunity to kind of reinvent myself. And I was thinking, what would I really, really like to do? And I felt marketing would be a great field for me. And I had the opportunity to work with Creative Concepts, a company in Fairfield in Connecticut. And that's where I kind of learned the trick of the trade and started working for fast-moving companies like Bigelow Tea, Weedat. We had Ecover, which is a Belgian company, as a client. They are now taken over by Method. So some major fast-moving companies we had as clients back then. And then I moved back to the Netherlands in 2011 with this pile of knowledge packed on then I entered the Netherlands, and I was ahead of the game, so that it was so funny, not having the formal background but still with a load of experience. And then I was asked for a B2B project, and the first B2B project was for Rionet, and Rionet is a sewer cleaning machine building company. And then I really got involved with the whole sewer below ground. It's a different world out there. And that's what one of my other clients who I met at a conference, they were asking me what kind of clients do you serve? And I told them Rionet, and then I saw his eyes and went what? And that was the marketing manager of Waven. And Waven is one of the biggest B2B companies in the Netherlands, and they also do sewer pipes but everything that has plastic and that has water running through it. And it's a huge company, and we did their content for almost 4 years, and it was super fun to do. And now we're kind of in a combination between construction, telecom. What else? Telecom, tech companies, and we now have a lot of governmental projects. And that's the last one, that's B2B2C. So it's partners that work together that eventually serve all the people that have now lost their jobs or are losing jobs or are in between. And sadly, a great business to be in because there's lots of work. So we've been really busy.
Well, and I think it's really important to point out because, you may be sitting here and listening if you're or watching and saying, well, I don't see how that type of job will fit or understand how that connects with the whole, B2B digital marketing. But, you
very much.
Very much so, because we're talking still about, and what we focus on is that long sales cycle, right? How do I support that long sales cycle? Because that's what is a key differentiator about the B2B digital marketer podcast. And so you and I actually had a really good discussion prior to start recording. So I want to make sure we're bringing some of that, insight and dialogue and conveyance of insight, onto the show. And maybe the best way to do that is to talk about your book, which is titled The Push Paradox. If you could, please share with listeners a little bit about this push paradigm.
Like one of the, as you work in B2B for a longer time, and we have the opportunity to work with many clients, you kind of see that they're pretty much all struggling with the balance between push and pull marketing. And now, like, content marketing is a magic word for many B2Bs here in the Netherlands. Like, they all, we need to do content marketing, and they hire you to do content marketing. But then the content is left there to rot. Like, nobody's reading it, nobody's seeing it. And then when they start doing the advertising, then it's mostly pushing products, like the short cycle thinking. And they want to push the product, and they think too small. It's like a long-term thing. You need to think every phase of the buyer journey. You need to do, like, first push content that informs them or triggers them or just makes them laugh, makes them notice your company. Then it's the next phase and the next phase and the next phase. And in the last phase, you can push content that will make them buy something from you, or get in touch with you, or come to an event or to an online event. And that's what the book is all about. The book is all about the right balance between push and pull marketing. Also, it's a funny book because it's like a really practical book. Yeah, we are like practical marketeers. We do this shit every day. So, like, every chapter has like different materials, and that can help B2B marketeers to work on their strategy, like, bit by bit. And then at the end, they all can do some exercises, and they can either develop their own strategy throughout the book, or they can check if their marketing agencies or their marketing departments are doing the right thing. So it's also like kind of a little bit of a check from people that do this for, like, we've been doing this for over 12 years now. And it's kind of a check. And it's our way of doing things. I'm not saying this is the only way. Absolutely not. But it can help.
Well, I think you bring up a very important discussion here, because, and I'll give you a real world example for me that I was reviewing. And I was looking at an organization, a media organization that is, one of my competitors at CX Global Media, that was talking about their webinars that they produce and promote. And it said, we have X many registrants, X many live attendees, and then X many on-demand replays. And this is a media company. Now, from my perspective, if you do this properly and you don't let things rot like you're talking about, your on-demand replay should be significantly higher than your live attendance. I mean,
of course.
It should be 10 times or more greater. If you're,
because it's there forever. So it should convert constantly.
That's exactly right. And it also has to be part of that long-term overall strategy thinking that you're
right.
That marathon, that ultra marathon.
Yeah.
And so for them, that's not what they were promoting. It was like the on-demand, access and replays. It was only like an eighth of what their live attendance was. And I'm like, that is lost value and opportunity. That should never happen.
Yeah, you should always think about, why am I doing this? What's in it? What's the goal that I'm going after? And that can be different. Like that's not the same for every company. It's not the same. So maybe that's their goal. Like maybe on demand, maybe they're, I don't know, what could be their goal? That's what I'm thinking now. Do they really think about that?
That's a great point. So, for me, I always talk about, reverse engineering. I talk about retrospective engineering. So in other words, what do I want as my ultimate outcome? And then let's reverse back to figure out how we're going to get there. And so if I think about it from that perspective, if I'm talking about transactions and I'm talking about a specific campaign that has a specific, dated, type of,
right.
Hey, it's a new release that I'm pushing.
Right.
That's product.
Then, yes.
Yes,
but then they could be doing the right thing. It depends on their goals.
That's right. But if I'm talking about a long sales cycle and I'm trying to build a relationship and I'm trying to create a brand and I'm trying to solve for somebody's problem, something went wrong in that pathway to say that.
Different story.
very different story. And I think that's
Yeah.
really important to all talking about that push-pull paradox. So
Right.
I am stuck with my head down and I'm creating content. However, if I don't understand and take into consideration the whole push-pull piece and how all that fits into that overall puzzle that you were talking about,
Right.
it's going to wither on the vine.
Yes. And you can see that's like push and pull, but you can take it much broader. Like all B2B companies are doing online and offline. And they also have like a sales department. And I see that it's also frazzled. You know, they do then they do this and they do that. And it's not combined. Like they should really look at it as one big picture. Like there's no such thing as sales being a separate department. It's marketing and sales marketing always. Like don't separate the two and think content from the full scope, not like little puzzles. And it's content, it's the offline things that you're doing, it's everything, and it, of course also the pushing the content with the right ads.
That's okay. So when you start talking about, the content and talking about that desired outcome and looking at all of that, what do you think that you see is quite overall just overrated as far as digital marketing is concerned?
Overrated, like it's kind of a hard question, but I think like what I said before, it's more the repetition of marketing planning. That's most companies kind of looking for. Like you need to have a plan in place. I'm totally for that, but you need to stay light on your feet. And like whenever you start to stick to a plan too much, I think that's the most overrated thing. You should always be able to adjust based on what's happening outside of your company, and being too far stuck, like the navel gazing. I call that navel gazing within your own company, being stuck in your own structure. Horrible. Stop doing that right now.
Well, and so you and I were talking off mic about this, and this probably requires a little bit more context and understanding. And you were talking kind of like, if you put this into context of a content calendar, like, so I create a content calendar, calendar, and what you're saying is that if all you're doing is, taking that from last year and replicating it to this year,
right,
significant risk.
That's a big risk because it doesn't work. You need to constantly evaluate what is working and what is not, and what has worked last year cannot work within a half a year. Adjust constantly, like constantly measure your success. Of course, you have a long-term like content plan in place, like the blogs and the webinars. That should all go on as planned, but adjust. And I see too many companies that kind of like they create like a year planning and then they create a monthly planning, but they tend to copy what they've done the year before, the same trade shows, the same. No. Check everything. Check if it works or not, and only repeat what works.
So for me, as you're saying that, I'm starting thinking about how to take and create strategy from the tactical elements, and I start thinking about all the inputs and the information that could help me to be able to do that iteration work, right?
Right.
Where do you find, most of your significant benefit when it comes to leading your decision to iterate and change?
That's a good question. Let me think. Well, there's a couple things that we always do a couple things. So also when we develop a strategy, it's about like going through all the analytics, of course. So you go through analytics, you make sure you have monthly reports coming in and you draw information from data because you can see what's working and what's not. But also stay in tune. Like listen to podcasts. We have groups of other B2B marketeers that are all like out there. They're all testing the waters and discuss. We open. Like we have a lot of colleagues that I don't see them as competitive, not at all. Like we learn together. So I learn from them. I see what's working for them. lots of information comes from people that I could consider my competitors, and the same probably for them. But we kind of like, that's a very vast source of information. And then one other one is, of course, what you see online, like you follow the right podcast and the right blogs, and that will give you information. And then the last thing, and that's maybe that's an important one. That's also what we do when we strategize. We always listen to the clients of our clients. So their clients, we will always be in touch with them, and we'll check in with them. We'll make the company check in with them regularly in whatever shape, way, or form, and in multiple ways and forms, preferably. But they check in regularly with their clients to see what their needs are and how they have changed and what they are using at this time. And like that whole mix, that's the menu that makes the perfect dish.
So when you start talking about, overcoming the paradox, and the whole push-pull component. If I'm sitting here and it is a paradox. I don't see, the whole conversion happening. I don't see how, where does somebody need to look in order to essentially get themselves out of the paradox?
You need to check your ad relevancy. So you need to make sure that ads are relevant. I think the metric is now changed, but you need to make sure that the ads are relevant to the people that you are sending your ads to. And if a lot of people comment negatively on your ads or try to hide them, you're doing something wrong. So you need to be in tune with what you're pushing out there. And what we are always saying, because this discussion is happening in the Netherlands as we speak. Like we had a conversation on LinkedIn this week. Like some B2B marketers are like, "Oh no, don't do the ads and horrible, and people hate them." But we always say we try to, like, the first thing you do is make great content. And then the next thing is the content should be found by the right people. So we say we assist people that are they are motivated to find that content. We can help them. That's the best advertising, I think. But if you overdo it, if you push too much, as you push your products, and people are maybe looking for your knowledge and not per se your product yet, then give them the knowledge. Don't push the product. They will hate the product, but will love the knowledge, and that's the long way in. But they will not forget you when they are doing a sale, when they are ready to sell or to buy. I mean, they will not forget about you.
Well, and even as you're talking right there, and we even mentioned how that formula and that success and that optimal scenario is not the same for everyone.
No.
Continuous testing in that whole iteration piece. So,
right.
Well, for me, I'm also thinking about time and timeliness and, risk and all of that. And I have to make my best first step, because I don't want that to immediately be falling off the cliff.
No.
So in the push-pull paradox, what are you saying to people, or how in order for them to help determine their own, and I think this is the key, their own best first step?
I don't think I will. I think we're kind of guiding them a little bit, because we usually use we check, like, okay, let me answer a question in a better way. You should start with checking what is the best liked and the most shared and commented on content that you already have. Maybe that's a really good one, because then you start with what's already popular, and that will give you an insight into, hey, there's something happening here. There's a reason for that. So see what you can find from that. But you should also just divert your target groups into different niches, and then really ask them, ask within your company to the people that know them. So I always say, go deeper into your company, not the marketing department, Go to like product marketing, see what they know about the people that they serve, because they will know different things than the marketing department does. So it's the internal checkup research that you're doing. It's like the online analytical research that you're doing. You see what's working on your channels, and then you ask them. Ask your prospects. Ask the prospect in that particular niche. Ask them, what is the biggest problem you're having right now? What is the materials that you would download? What is the video that you would watch? That's what you should start with.
Okay, so then for me, if I was to boil this down, I start thinking that to overcome the push-pull paradox, it's to do more of the listing and the foundational work in order to generate the content that is going to make the difference.
Yes, that we believe in a very strategic and very start with the people you're doing this for approach.
Okay, so then for me, I start getting into the whole, I have some constraints. I mean, I only have so many resources and budget that I'm working on. So if you were to give a recommendation, where would you tell somebody to reallocate your existing budget from and to?
Yeah, I see a lot of B2B companies, they invest in content marketing and lead gen. And then when it comes to ads, they do Google ads, but not so much social media advertising. And I also still see them doing like a lot of trade shows, of which they do not know if that's valuable and attributing to their goals. And also like TV commercials even, but they have no clue what the results are. So I would say, let the numbers do the talking, like measure everything, let the numbers do the talking. You should really like be able to attribute success to the money that you've put in. And then if I am honest and I look at what's happening with trade shows and stuff, I see there's a lot of money going out and it's not really resulting in any like down the line, any sales. So I would say put the money where the results are, and on average, that's online. For us, it's online. It's online. It's digital marketing, content marketing, lead generation funnels, and I love campaigns. And it's not like one campaign throughout the whole year. No, it's campaign, always layered. Like everything we do is layered. It's all layer.
I think that's also a critical, important note to point out is, and to me, it fits in what you were just talking about, and kind of bringing it back full circle as far as getting out of the paradox. It's not letting things rot on the vine. It's, looking at them holistically. It's layering, and it's doing all that from a strategic perspective. It's the iteration. So, I mean, to me, that's an orchestra.
It is. And it's funny that you say so, because I used to have like a background image. I still have it somewhere with like an orchestra, like directing the whole orchestra. That's what it is. Like if you want to do this omni-channel, then you're directing an orchestra. That's what you do.
Okay, so then I have to look at, let's take off all the constraints, right? Okay, I have new budget, it's unlimited budget, and I can do whatever I want. What would you recommend that somebody do?
Really like targeted funnels, like all the way through, combined with smart campaigns. So the campaigns are like long-term, it's all long-term, the base is great content, but then you start to develop like the content based on each phase of the buyer journey, really drawing the people in slowly. And then when it's all connected, like I see a lot of companies that have maybe one contact page. Like we do lead pages for every little like campaign and every little target group, and like really divert, like make it smaller and see that they are recognizing themselves in the page where you bring them to. Like really differentiate towards all these different niches. And then do the whole lead gen properly. That's what I believe in, and that's where the money would go.
Okay, so that's a very interesting point, because I had somebody on the podcast who was, chatting or was talking about a strategy just as that. And he also does some professional speaking. And what he ended up doing is really building a very powerful public speaking business by creating literally hundreds, of those types of landing pages where it was very, very specific to
Right.
geographic location.
Yeah. Yes. It's like personalizing content is very important.
Right.
And there's many tools to help you do that. So, but that's a great, that's where I would put the money on.
Well, I think that's a great advice. Okay. So when I start, looking, at, where you are and where you're going and thinking about, how can I actually, differentiate and disrupt, because you're bringing on different perspectives and, chatting with people who are at a different starting point than you are. Where are you looking to actually do some disruption?
Me, for my own company?
Yes.
Oh my God, don't ask me this question. It's a forbidden question, because I'm not like my own marketing stinks. Like I really get leads because we do a great job and that brings in more work. And like if I look at my own marketing, I'm like, oh no. And we did that. We launched the book, so that this is kind of my thing. And it's not like I use this as my own. It's not per se a marketing tool, but when I enter a client and I'm allowed to make a proposition and I kind of do this, like, hey, I bought the book, then they're looking at you differently. So that's my kind of own little thing, but don't look at me like it's never like it's the marketer, which marketing is not okay. But let's say disrupting. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of drawing a blank like now. What should you do to really disrupt? Maybe disrupt is also something that is happening like right now, and I'm more of the long-term approach. So let me give an example of one of my clients. Like we just redid the website. It's a Dutch website, so it probably won't mean anything to you guys. But it's a client that has been doing content marketing the right way, like one little trickle at a time, for a long time. So they have a website with over 500 pages, which ranks on number one for I think 7 or 8 different keywords, which is huge. So and then we were asked to redo that website. So we thought, like, let's do this live. We rebuilt the website while the website stayed live, not to disrupt the traffic. But he is number one in 7 different, and now he's number one in maybe 10. And we just by kind of redoing the website, and like, is that a disruptor? No, but is he number one? Yes. So it's a long-term thing. So maybe I don't believe in being a disruptor like right now, but developing the right content. Like for Wavin, we did a piece, 10 measures to prevent urban flooding. So versus talking about all the solutions and products that they have, I added products from competitors, really scary for B2B, but I did, and they let me. And so now this article is like the best read article on their website, like crazy, like it went like crazy. So it's disrupting because it's solution driven. The solution is prevent urban flooding. It's not buy my pipe or use these water crates, or that's not it. It's solution thinking. I don't know. It's probably not the right answer, but
I think that is very helpful. And so for me, it comes back to that self-realization point of knowing where I am. And so if you start thinking about a B2B digital marketer, what is one important question they need to be asking themselves?
The most important question is what's happening outside of my company. Am I still in touch with that? Like, am I navel gazing? Which book did I read last? Which workshop did I go to? Who are my B2B marketing buddies who tell me their stories? Am I still in touch with what's happening outside? I think that's the most important thing. Like, take COVID as an example. If you keep on doing what you're doing, then COVID is a problem for everyone. But if you don't develop like methods so you can do business online, like in any way, shape, or form, you're kind of, I don't want to swear, but hey, that's not working. So you need to adjust to what's happening outside of your company. And I think COVID is the best possible example. Like there's also business in COVID. Like see what's possible for you. You know, there's so many possibilities. There's also companies that thrive because they adjust. They are light on their feet. So I think that's the biggest question. Am I in touch with what's happening? Really in touch with what's happening outside of my company? Am I able to adjust?
That's a very, very good and sound advice. Nicoline Maes, if you could, because I've had a good time with you, share with the B2B DM gang how they can get in touch with you.
Find me on LinkedIn. And I'm on many different channels, but LinkedIn is the easiest, and also in English, because lots of my social channels are also in Dutch, so it's often a combination. But LinkedIn is in English too, so find me there.
Nicoline, thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom, and we wish you the very best.
Same to you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us. Go now to join the B2B DM gang in the B2B Marketer LinkedIn group, where you can connect with other B2B DM disruptors and get access to our B2B DM cheat sheets, checklist, and guides. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, please help by going to iTunes to rate, review, and subscribe. And share the show on all of your digital platforms. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode. And always remember, you can automate your lead capture, but you must lure your lead.